Hi, so this is going to be a video about Dr. Dewi Evans and another case he was involved in. And this is truly scary. So I think the link has been put up in some places, and it's a video of Kevin Edward addressing, I don't know, a conference or an audience, and he's talking about the case of Linda Lewis. Now, this goes back to 1997. So what had happened? So Councillor Kevin Edward, I think he was the councillor for Letby back then, but he seems to have moved around between Wrexham and Llansamlet, so I'm not 100% sure of where he was based then, but anyway, what had happened was a lady called Linda Lewis from Port Talbot in South Wales, and we know that Dr. Dewi Edwards, he's from South Wales, and he was practicing in Singleton Hospital in Swansea at the time, so I guess he was a consultant back then. He was certainly a paediatrician. So her daughter was ill with a lot of pain, and we're calling the daughter Bonnie. It turned out she actually had a condition called Zollinger-Ellison, but at the time no one knew that. So she took Bonnie to Alderhay Hospital. They couldn't find what was wrong, and then she asked for a second opinion. So Bonnie was then transferred to the Royal Free Hospital, and she was there for about 3 weeks in just worse and worse pain with no diagnosis, no progress. So Linda took her out of the hospital because she was basically fed up and she wasn't going to let her daughter suffer anymore. Now, at the point she took her daughter out of the hospital, this unfortunately, it raised red flags. Social services were involved. Actually, that might have been, you know, perfectly proper. I don't know, but that's what happened. Once she took her out of the hospital of her own volition, it triggered this response, so that social services got involved. And at this point, Dr. Evans and Dr. Roberts, who was Linda's own GP, they got involved. They decided, I think it was Dr. Evans decided, okay, there was no problem with Bonnie, but there was a problem with her mother. So the parents, they took her to the USA to get further help and a diagnosis. Now, this is where things get really quite sinister, because it was totally legal for them to do that, even though social services were involved. They hadn't placed any restrictions on the family, so they were perfectly within their rights, as I understand it, to go to the USA to seek this diagnosis. There, Bonnie was diagnosed with Zollinger-Ellison. So apparently that causes too much acid in the gut, but that's why she was experiencing so much pain. So she actually did have an illness that could have been treated and that should have been treated. And actually, if you look and read up on this case, there is so much that is completely disturbing about this. So in the meantime, whilst Bonnie is in the USA being evaluated by the doctors there, the local paper, which I guess was the Western Mail, it printed in the news that this child was missing, and please, if anyone knows where she is and what is happening to her, you know, please get in touch at once. This is a matter of urgency. Now, it appears that everyone who needed to know where Bonnie was knew where she was. So, you know, the relevant health services all knew where she was, that she was in America getting evaluated. There's no problem with this. But obviously this was misrepresented in the local newspaper. So you can see that these two, Dr. Evans and Dr. Roberts, behind the scenes, you know, they'd started to make contacts. So they'd started to manoeuvre and get people on their side already. What happened then was the social services, they actually, you know, according to this, they actually obtained false passports, and the child was brought back. Now, she was allegedly taken from her hospital bed at gunpoint. So that's what's reported. And so she gets brought back to the UK at that point by social service officials. Apparently this was done illegally, and from the correspondence that you get to see in this video, that does actually look to be the case. Now, in one of Dr. Evans's letters, I can't remember who it's to, but it is on the video. It's where he's appealing for, basically, for Bonnie to be removed from the family for her own protection, or for social services to be involved, because at the point she is brought back to the UK, she doesn't appear to rejoin her family. So Dr. Evans is writing, and this is on the letter, so this actually is verbatim, that the family took Bonnie to Alderhay Hospital in a van in the middle of the night. I don't know if the family had a van or not, but you can see how dramatic all that sounds. He then writes to the Legal Services Council. So you can see now he's using his position to really get people on board. And he requests that any more medical intervention, or any requests for medical intervention, you know, like second opinions or anything like that, this has to go through Dr. Roberts or himself, Dr. Evans, first. So he cuts off the family's ability to seek any other opinions or any other help. Next, he is in touch with Sergeant John of the Family Support Unit, so that's for Neath Port Talbot in South Wales. So he's got the police involved, he's got social services involved, he's got the hospitals involved. So he's closed the net very, very effectively. And the next thing is Bonnie is then sent away to a mental institution, I believe in Hampshire. So she's sent like miles away from home, and you know, no one gets any say in this. So the family contact a solicitor for help, you know, requesting an interim contact order. And in the letter, the solicitor tells the family that unfortunately they cannot place an interim contact order so that the family can see Bonnie, because they have been threatened with consequences if they do. So they're literally probably up against Neath Port Talbot Borough Social Services, all of the hospitals concerned, and the police, the judiciary, all of that. So they're saying they cannot send papers on your behalf, they cannot discuss the case on your behalf, they cannot involve third parties on your behalf, and they cannot make any applications on your behalf. And they say at the bottom of the letter that this is a gross injustice of your human rights, and the solicitors involved, they weren't a great big powerful solicitor. They were like a normal family solicitor. They're still there. So they are certainly not one of the big boys, and they were probably, it looks like they were leaned on, as they said, to not intervene in any way. So what do I think of this video? I do think it's genuine. The letters, the evidence, the documents, they all look completely genuine. The video has been chopped about a bit, but I think that is to make it shorter, to make it more concise. So I don't think there's anything ulterior going on with that. It certainly is the whole quality, it certainly is of the period. All the letters, the names, the places, they actually do all add up. This does look, all in all, to be genuine. So if you want to look up, this video is on Facebook. It's Councillor Kevin Edward and the Linda Lewis case, and if you Google it, there is a lot of material, and the more you look, the more disturbing this seems to get. But obviously back then you see Dr. Dewi Evans, his ability to manoeuvre people into a position, to get people on side, to network, to bring people on board, and basically to sign, seal and deliver a result. So yeah, please go and watch that video. Hope you like, please subscribe, and hope to see you in my next video.